Okay, everybody, thank you for getting on. I'm going to give a couple seconds and do a little reminder to everyone. Have some great training planned. I'm sorry I'm 5 minutes late. There's a little bit of a technical difficulties getting on here. Let me send out a text. Okay, looks like some of you are jumping on now. Go ahead and text me when you jump on so I know who is on. Oh, we couldn't post. This is weird. Okay. Great, Emily's on, Angela's on. I know a couple more of you are on. Just go ahead and send me a text message when you jump on. Kaya's on. I love that my phone is blowing up. More of you are jumping on. This is great. I have some great training planned. So, okay, Ashley Walden's on. Kay Moses is on. Ellie is on. Congratulations. Okay, let's get started then. We have a lot of you on. I just wanted to kind of go over what this week's Pacesetter coupon was all about. So your little challenges that you have. And one of them I know that I'm getting lots of questions about would be the DISC personality quiz. And so I want you to know what that's all about. That is all about the DISC personality thing. You can Google that and you can take an online test to tell you what personality style you are. So just Google it. Don't spend a ton of time on this, of course, but just Google DISC personality quiz and you can take one of those and let your director know your results because we want to know what personality style you are and what the quiz said that you were. You also get 50,000 points for moving up the career path. So it's exciting. We decided for Heather Jackson and Allie Ernest, since they're both DIQs and they can't really, I mean, they could move up to sales director, but that's a little bit higher of a standard than everybody else. We made a little bit of a special requirement for them. So Heather, if you want to know that, definitely let Lindsay know and she will share that with you. You can complete your 4 hours of booking, boxing your director about Pacesetter progress. Also, 10,000 points for every $100 in sales. And then for the following week, you're going to get 50,000 points for medaling in the month of February, with that, which I have to give a shout out to Heather Jackson because Heather has already silver medaled this month. In fact, she did that in a week, added 4 team members in 1 week. 20,000 points for every guest to your weekly success event. And I will count G Cubed events. You know, any of those events where your director is, then those count for you. Tweet another success using my breakthrough. Take a photo of you and your desired Mary Kay car and tweet it. And 10,000 points for every person who joins one of the marketing hangouts, okay? So those are your Pacesetters for the next 2 weeks. You can kind of be preparing for those. I hope that's helpful information. So we're just taking this through February and into March a little bit. So exciting stuff. And I'm proud of all of you for hanging out with us on Wednesday evenings consistently. I know some of you jump in on pairs and kind of do this together too. So thank you. For those of you who attended Lori Hogg, I hope you learned some amazing tricks and that you're absolutely loving it. Well, I asked if there was anything y'all wanted training on, but I was going to kind of train from my heart tonight, and I hope that's okay with you. If you do have other questions you think of, you can for sure text those to me. I would love to know those questions. And then this week, if you think of anything else to have for next week's call, let me know because I would love to answer any of your questions. And I want this to be something where you feel like you're getting something out of it. So I have some good training planned for tonight, and it's going to be short too because I know it's 9 o'clock at night, past my bedtime already. Thank you to Angela. She also jumped on. Okay, the first thing I want to talk to you about is tracking. And I was meeting with a new consultant tonight with Nicole, and Nicole had a sharing appointment scheduled in person with me, which I highly recommend in person if you can at all do those types of sharing appointments, because you are so much more effective in person and build so much more of a trust and a relationship in person, okay? So I highly recommend that. But we were talking about tracking, and I want you to know that one of the most important things you can do at the beginning of a month, and if you haven't done it, it's okay, I want you to do it now, is print this party plan tracking sheet. This is available on the Brittany Jenks webpage, and I just so highly recommend this. And the reason why is because you can see where it says contacts, and you can fill out all of your contacts, which is anybody who you've maybe like done a skincare survey with and you've text messaged them and then maybe they've responded to you and you have a conversation going with them, or anybody that you've booked. That's your contacts, or anyone that you have text messaged at all and started conversation with. I like it only if I've started conversation about holding an appointment with them, so that way I can go back and see who didn't follow through. Hostesses are on here, so anyone who you were a hostess for, and then also faces and your sharing appointments. Y'all, this sheet is like gold, okay? This is tracking gold, because this helps you to track all the important things, your contacts, faces, and your sharings. And then of course your weekly accomplishment sheet tracks your sales. Okay, so everything is pretty much tracked for you all on this sheet. And here's the deal. We know that all of you that are on this are most likely wanting to make extra money, move up the career path, earn a Mary Kay career car, or become a sales director. And so the way that we know is tried and true and it works is the party plan. By doing the party plan, when you're a party plan achiever, specifically at the 8th level, which is also known as the party queen, or the 10th level, which is known as the party animal, you will be in a Mary Kay career car. Like, you will earn a free car when you work this program intentionally with the intent of moving up the career path. You will make extra money, a lot of it. And you're going to be able to afford a lot of things with your Mary Kay lifestyle because you're choosing to party. And not that it's a lot of extra time. It's just a matter of tracking it. So I was talking to Nicole about this, and I asked her how many sharing appointments she had, and this brought me to a really key thing, and it kind of answers Pam's question that she asked me on my post. And I said to her, okay, how many sharings have you done? Because she was asking about, you know, this person. She was kind of disappointed about someone who said no. I was like, how many have you done? Because I know the averages. And she went through and she counted, and she was like, gosh, I guess I thought I had done a lot more. And isn't that so the case, that we think we've done a lot more than maybe we sometimes have, because we're not tracking it? But when you track it, you're going to know exactly how many sharing appointments you've done. So when she counted it, she had done 7. All right, 7. And so 7 sharing appointments is a fabulous number, right? But what if she hadn't counted that? We get up to the end of the month and she's done 1,000 wholesale and orders, and she has done 10 parties, but only has 7 sharing appointments. Yeah, she could crank out 3 really quickly, but I'm sure the thing that she really wants to do is she actually wants to do 3 legitimate sharing appointments that are quality. They're going to help her move up the career path and completely finish a party animal or perfect 10 level without having to beg and plead people for kind of a pointless sharing appointment. Now, had I not asked that question, she probably wouldn't have realized, like, oh my gosh, I already have 7. I only need 3 more to perfect this. You know, I only need 3 more to get to that 10 level. So if you don't track it, you don't know. And a lot of times if you don't track it, what happens is you get discouraged because you think you're getting 23 no's when in reality you had maybe 7. So I hope that kind of helps a little bit with those no's and knowing exactly how many no's you actually have received. Okay. A lot of times our mind hears no, and I don't know if y'all are like me, but I hear it repeat in my mind. And I think about this same person who said no because I had her on my mind over and over and over. And that doesn't help your psyche. It doesn't help, you know, you can't add her name to your tracking sheet for every single time you say no for her in your head. But when you track it, you have that sense of clarity of, okay, that's only 7 people. Number 9 and number 10 might be my 1 and 5 to join. And so keep on keeping on. And I want to speak from my heart a little bit. I told you I was going to share this. So I did 30 faces in 30 days when I started my business, which was December, Christmas days when I January 21st, I think, was when I had my business debut 9 years ago. Well, yeah, 9 years ago. And when that happened, I did my 30 faces in 30 days. And when I did my 30 faces in 30 days, I was really intentional on selling the product, in which I did. I sold a lot of product, okay? The product sells itself. When you all agree that that's like so easy to do. You can accidentally have the lip mask and put it on their eyes and just tell them later like, oh, it's meant for your lips. It's really good. And they'll buy it. I'm kidding. Don't try that. But really, it is that good. And so the product sells itself. But as soon as I figured out the career path and I learned the fact that, you know, as consultants, and I'm going to show you the career path. This comes inside of your starter kit too, and you should purchase extras of these to kind of share with women. But as a consultant, when I started to focus and how people could move up, and when I learned the fact that at this level, which is where I was as a beauty consultant, which I love that level, it was great. These women, along with Red Jackets, have a, you know, a little bit of a smaller team typically. They've chosen not to take leadership positions. Those women make up to about $5,000 a month, right? Now, these women, sales directors, do, you know, pretty much the same amount of work. They're just encouraging other people to do it. They make around $5,000 to $25,000 a month, okay? Directors, right? And these women are national sales directors, and national sales directors make around $25,000 to $150,000 a month, okay? They also have retirement in our company. Now, all of these levels can, you know, earn the use of a Mary Kay career car at any level, but these ones can earn the Chevy Equinox or the pink Cadillacs and above, okay? So when I saw this, I thought to myself, hold up. I could tap out my income potential by just simply moving up this career path. And when I figured that out, I really thought to myself, when I go to these parties, I want to be intentionally adding team members. Okay, so I finished my 30 faces, and that was January into February. February into March, I got really smart and I started bringing guests to meeting. And when I did that, y'all, I called them miracle magical meetings because they were that. I walked in with guests and I walked out with new team members. In fact, the first month I added team members. I went from 0 to 5 team members my very first month. Every single one of them started as a star consultant. And we then had over half of our car production done. Okay, over half of our car production done. I mean, over half of the 20,000 that we needed, right? So just know that that is possible for you too, because I changed my intention. My intention then wasn't going in just simply wanting to sell the product. It was going in wanting to sell the product, of course, but I knew the product sold itself. So I went in thinking, I want to sell the product, but I want to change lives in the way of this opportunity. And I know that if it can change my life, it can change theirs too. So you know what I did? It wasn't the same sheet, but I started using this tracking sheet, and I became intentional about filling this area of sharing appointments and seeing as many faces as it took to make sure that I was sharing with enough people to add the team members to move up the career path. Y'all, my paycheck for the month of March when I added those 5 team members was $1,400. My very first paycheck that I ever received for commission from the company was $1,400. That, I mean, how many of you, and maybe you can raise your hand right now, I can't see it, but how many of you would that make a substantial difference in your current financial situation? And I know it did for me too. And so when you go in realizing you have 2 amazing gifts to offer people, the service of the products and you as a consultant that takes great care of them. And then also the fact that you're going to be a great coach for them and lead them to success up this career path. And if you're new and you don't know how, you get to watch your sales director do it. So that way you know how to do it for consultants in the future too, and for your next new team members. And when I learned that, I'm like, shut the front door. I got to maximize this. You know, I got to maximize my earning potential. I've got to maximize the opportunity to change more women's lives, because I see it then as twofold: a way for women to reach their full excellence, and also a way for them to feel great about themselves on the outside, to have that better confidence on the inside. So when I got the no's, and the no's came my way, and of course I had no's. You know, they say in Mary Kay that national sales directors, and really Mary Kay Ash herself, had the bloodiest knees of all. She had fallen more times than any of us probably ever will. And so have national sales directors. They have simply received more no's than we're willing to get. I'll take that and I'll kind of put that on myself because I'm not yet a national sales director. So I got to be willing to get the no's in order to find the yeses. So for the no's and the lows, those low moments, it's figuring out you. How do you work? Like, how do you tick? Pity parties for a second are okay. Pity parties that last a day, maybe not. Pity parties that last a week over things that are no's in our business. Think about how many women are passing you by that really truly need this opportunity. And more than anything, I had a really great conversation today with Kim Raines, and I said to her, and I want you to take this however you take this as far as what you feel like God has called you to do in your business. I asked her if she felt called to be a sales director in Mary Kay, and she said yes, and gave me a long story about why she feels that way. Y'all, if you're on this hangout, I'm assuming, and I don't want to assume that if that's not you, so, just take this for what it is for you. I'm assuming God's called you to more. I'm assuming that he's called you to step into a leadership position, whether that be red jacket, car driver, sales director, but I'm really assuming that. And every day that you choose to live in a pity party or to live in the no's or the lows is a day you're disobeying what God has called you to be. And don't you know that he knows who's going to be on your car driving team? He knows who's going to be in your unit. He knows every woman that's going to come in your path that you're supposed to change her life. And so I hope you take that really seriously, knowing that those are other people's futures you're holding in your hands through the opportunity of a Mary Kay career. And I take that seriously, and I hope that you do too. So the lows and the no's, figure out you. What motivates you? What pumps you up? What can get you out of a funk? As I look at this hangout, I look right here, and that is what can get me out of a funk. One little smile from her face and me remembering that I want her to have a mommy who never gave up, because it's all about what is caught, not what is taught. Because I could tell her all day long not to give up. But if she sees me give up, she knows it. I know it. And also, I never want her to feel like she was my excuse, but rather my reason. So, we can earn this trip to Rome, Italy this year. And I heard a really great story by a sales director who was standing in front of a luncheon that I was invited to attend this year. And she stood up there, and she had a mom who got sick during the year that they were going to earn her very first top sales director trip. And when her mom got sick, her mom took care of her dad. Her dad was really sick too. So she had to go take care of her mom and then her dad as well, which took her out of the field. And she was really disappointed by that, but also, still encouraged by the fact that her unit was strong and they were continuing to work. And so she'll never forget, excuse me, sorry. But she said she would never forget as she sat there beside her mom's bed. Her mom knew how bad she wanted this trip, and her mom wanted it for her too. And her mom said, why don't you get the heck out of this room? You got to go earn that trip. You just have to earn that trip. And every day you have to earn the trip. How are you doing on the trip? And finally she's like, Mom, I want to earn the trip too. And then she had this huge realization. And the realization was this: if that year she chose not to work full out when she wasn't in the hospital visiting her mom would continuously forevermore blame herself for her not earning that trip. And that just brought tears to my eyes. You could have a baby this year. I'm just speaking from my experience, you could have life situations this year. You're going to have those types of things happen, because you do and you will. And that's just how life is, unfortunately. But what you choose to make that into, and what you choose to be your story, to be your success story, makes all the difference in the world. So will the person that you're saying is the reason why you're not working feel like, they let you down? Or will they be your reason to get up and go to work every day and work your Mary Kay business? So the lows and the no's. I don't know if it's great music for you that gets you lift it up. I don't know if it's calling your sales director, boxing her. I don't know if it's reading an inspirational postcard she sent you or some sort of encouragement, or if it's reading your Bible or a good book or what it is, but it's figuring out you. And sometimes for me, I said this actually the other day on a coaching call, like honestly, guys, prayer is the number one way that I work these things out. And sometimes for me, it's prayer. Like Jake doesn't even see this stuff. I lay face first on the ground sometimes, and I just like lift my hands up and give it to God and just say, I don't want to feel like this anymore. I want to feel called. I want to feel called to this position. Take these feelings away from me. Take these thoughts away from me. Put the women in front of me that you want me to be in front of. Maybe that's what you need to do. Lay face first on the floor and just pray to God. Yeah, you'll probably ugly cry, so maybe do it before you have your makeup on, or at nighttime before you go to bed. But y'all, that's what works for me, because he would not have you in this company at this time, building our national area, if he didn't call you for a greater purpose. And so that covers the lows and the no's. I've covered tracking with you. And that was kind of the heavy stuff. So now what I want to share with you, a couple of just tips, things I've been hearing this week. One would be using this new product to get bookings. I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you get on the phone and you take the cute color palette that we have with the 4 eyeshadow colors, the 3 lip gloss colors. You take that palette and you say to people, you have got to see this. I need face models to demonstrate it. You call people, you send them a picture of it in a text message and say, will you be my face model to try out this new product? And you use that palette as a reason to get in front of people. So old customers, new customers. And if you tell me and it needs to be shown at a Monday night because all of your guests you've used that script on, I will get mine out and we will use it for sure. Or at a G Cube too. But that is a great reason to get back in front of your customers. Send them a picture of it. Tell them you need face models for it and take a before and after picture, or even just an after picture with that palette on. So that is a great way to get bookings with that new product. The other thing that I want to share with you, I've been having a lot of consultants who have said that they've been struggling to get parties on their date book. And I want to talk to you a little bit about that. Anytime I've used the word party when I'm going to book something, I feel like sometimes it has this, this way of being overwhelming to people. Like if you called me and said, hey, Brittany, will you host us a party for me? I'm like, ah. I think about cleaning my house. I think about like, oh my gosh, Kinley, and what am I going to do with her? And I think about entertaining people, and I think about like food that I had to make. And it really, that word for me, not that I don't love to party, but I don't love the idea of maybe a party. But if you were to call me and you were to say to me, hey, Brittany, I'd love to borrow your face and do a facial and makeover. I'm in a challenge to facial 30 women in 30 days. I would love to help you. And so I would probably say yes to that if I, were your Mary Kay customer, or if I were a stranger, or even if I were just someone who you haven't facialed yet. But then what I would love for you to say to me that would really work is if you book me for, let's say next Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. And then you said to me, by the way, you're allowed to share that appointment with up to 5 of your friends. Because you didn't make it seem super high maintenance, super hard, super challenging, I would totally invite 5 of my friends to do that. Totally, if not more. So my recommendation is when you call people or text people is to say to them, hey, this is Allie. I'm super excited. I'm in a challenge to facial 30 women in 30 days. I immediately thought of you because you're super helpful. You're super sweet. Give them a genuine, heartfelt, strong compliment and say, would you be willing to help me by being one of my 30 faces? And they're going to say yes. And you're going to say, great. What does your schedule look like this week? I'm free on Wednesday, Friday, or Sunday. Which works best for you? And then they're going to say Friday. Great. I'm free around 5 or 7. Which works best for you? 5. Great. Let's do 5 o'clock on Friday. Do you want to come to me, or do you want me to come to you? Okay. And then you figure that part out. And then you say, oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, you're actually allowed to share that appointment with up to 5 of your friends. And when I say that, it is like clockwork that works and that happens. Okay, so that's a great script. If you go around saying, hey, will you host us a party for me? I mean, I think you could get the few I personalities for sure to hostess a party for you, but you're missing out, I think, on the bigger groups of people that you could get together. So that's my best booking script for you. I hope that's helpful for you too. So I've covered tracking, the lows and the no's, the best booking script, and using the new product in order to get appointments on your date book. The other thing I want to share, but I think I'm going to wait till next week, is how to close someone on the spot to join your team. So I think I'm going to cover that for next week, but I hope that you've enjoyed this. And to end the story of my starting of my business. So that March, I recruited 5 team members and went on target for a car. I didn't even know I was on target for the car. Rochelle called me and was like, hey, Brittany, by the way, you're on target for a car. And I freaked out. I was like, what? I did what? And so she told me, she's like, you're on target for a car. And I said, okay. And I kind of got scared, like, how do I keep going? What do I do? And she said, just keep doing what you're doing. And what I was doing is exactly that script I told you, bringing guests to meeting, that script I told you, and I was partying. I was doing Perfect 10 level every single month. And so at that point, 3 months later, we earned the use of our first Mary Kay career car. And I thought to myself, do I have what it takes to be a sales director? And then a couple months later, I decided it's not, do I have what it takes? It's, am I willing to work at the level it takes? Made that decision, and I was willing. And so I threw my heart over the line and became a sales director at the age of 21 or 22. I think I turned 22 when I became a sales director. No, I was 21. I don't know how old I was. Who cares? Anyway, the point of the story is sometimes you have to fake it until you make it. Most times. In order to become a sales director, I had to act like that position. In order to become a car driver, I had to act like I already had that position. I dressed like it. I walked like it. I talked like it. I watched other car drivers. I did what they did. Same thing with sales director. Same thing with, national sales director. You act like you are there and you fake it until finally you make it. And then once you make it, guess what happens? You eventually become it. And so if you're lacking in confidence, or maybe you felt a couple blows here and there, I want you to track it, because that's legitimately going to tell you where you are and how many faces you've seen or how many sharings you've done. And it gives you the pudding, the proof of, what it is you're doing, the meat and potatoes. Once you've tracked it, I want you to pray over it. And you can do these in whatever order. I want you to pray over it. I want you to pray out loud. And I want you to pray God to take it over for you. And then I want you to remember, you're called for such a time as this, to move up in this company or whatever goal it is that you have to achieve it. And I know that chapter in our book, Audacious by Beth Moore, it says, if you only knew. And it says, Jesus is thinking about us. If you only knew. And I just want to grab you by the face and say to you, if you only knew all that he has prepared for you, all the women's lives that he has, that he wants you to touch, all the people that you're going to lead into this amazing company that is like no other. If you only knew how great you are, if you only knew that you can speak in front of people, that you have what it takes to be a sales director, that you have what it takes to drive a Mary Kay career car, that you have what it takes to go as far as you want to. If you only knew, you faked it until you made it, and then you're going to become it. I know that you can, and I am here cheering for you, and I know Lindsay is too, and so are all the other sales directors. So I'm proud of you. Thank you for being on this, and have an absolutely amazing night. Mwah.